Welcome, welcome. It's lesson 33 this week, so moving right along. I had a little surgery last week, and then in the process of all that, I did a little tumble down my only three steps. But I tell you, when you fall the wrong way and you land the wrong way on your back, you end up in a terrible situation. Anyway, so I got a little bit of a sore back today, which is okay. But everything will change and it'll get better. Okay, we're on A flat. Okay, and the progression is A flat, up one full tone to, I can hear a going on here. I'm going to turn this down. Let's see if that stopped it. Hang on. Hello. I think I stopped it. Okay. So, A flat. Now, this is a key that a lot of the romantic type of songs along those lines, because it has more of a feeling to it, the chords. Anyway, so we have an A flat, one full step, B flat minor, because it's the second is the minor. In other words, the second step of a chord is the minor. The third step is also a minor. So one full step again is to a C and a minor. Now, between the 3 and the 4, we have a half a step. That puts us at D flat. Now we have a full step to E flat. We have a full step now to F. But it's the 6th step of that chord, and that is a minor. Now we have a G augmented. Interesting, huh? See how that goes together? You weren't expecting it to sound that way. I know you weren't. So here we go. We'll do it again. Okay, and the third is C minor, half a step to D flat. We have an E flat, and we have an F minor. Then we have a G diminished. And then the last step to the full 8th again of the chord, the 8th step, which is not shown anywhere, it's just the full octave. There we go. Okay, now, we've covered a lot of things in the last few lessons, and a lot of it was just learning not just the chord, but learning different things, and learning to set down little notes to ourselves by just simply making notes, dots on a piece of paper, and using the chord. In other words, like using the A chord, A flat, and then da 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 da, and then to the next da 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 da, or whatever you're doing, and you can actually just save the dots. Then you'll have a whole collection of dots before long. Then you can sit down and play with the dots and come up with notes that go along with those dots and the chords. Then you can start putting songs together that way. In other words, you can get derailed of learning to get through this by obsessing in one direction or another, and it's best to get all the way through all the progressions. And then get obsessed in any direction you want to go. Okay, now, as I've stated many, many times, I've been doing this long enough, and I had to teach myself, because I don't know, I have a learning disability of some sort, and that's always been my situation my whole life. I couldn't read instructions, but I could put it together. So when I was going through school and then into college, I was still having the same problem. And if it wasn't something that I could look at, I couldn't figure it out. And it's still that way today. And so I learned everything on my own. And so I have my way of doing things, but it's almost like a silent miracle, because once you have learned all your chords and all the variation of those chords, you've got all of these sounds. Your memory does not forget those sounds. And so in a quiet time of just sitting down and relaxing, in other words, you can practice a song 100 times or more and get in front of a group of people, an audience. And either you're by yourself. I'm always by myself, because I've always done better as a solo person doing things, but in front of a crowd. And all you have to do is say, I need to make sure that I do this perfect. You're not going to make it if you're like me. You have to just relax and just play it. And if you change a few things, you change a few things, but they're slight. Nobody will ever know you changed anything. But the general gist of it is like going from the dots. I know what the dots are, and I put it into proportion, and I just do it. And so what ends up is the easiest part of this whole scheme of being an artist and a musician is literally, for me, is writing songs. The lyrics are a little harder, but down the road I can show you different ways that you can be a little bit of a cheater on that, as far as if you're not able to rhyme. There's a lot of things on the computer that will rhyme words, rhyme sentences, rhyme phrases together for you, and it'll help you to put a song together if you need to. You have the general idea, and that'll help you come up with the rhyming words. And anyway, for this week, I'm gonna say I'm pretty sure that you can put this chord progression together pretty easily, and you can figure out pretty easily where the sixths and the sevenths and the minors and the augmented and diminished and everything else is, because you should know that like the back of your hand at this point. And I want to talk about expression, because this chord progression is got a lot of feeling to it. So when you play, especially on a piano, when you hit your chord, you usually will do it evenly if you're using a chord or just two notes. But when you're playing, in other words, you hear how I'm hitting a note a little harder than another one and all this. I want you to experiment this week. Take each chord. Put feeling into it, and work with how hard you're hitting the keys on the piano, because it's easy. You don't need a volume control, and on a piano you can give it a heck of a lot of feeling by just think about it. You've got 5 fingers and 5 fingers here. That gives you 10 different varieties of hard and soft sounds that you can put together, let alone the different notes that you can play. So that's where you get your feelings into it. So what I want you to do this week is work on feeling. And if you don't have any, just simply use different amounts of volume when you're hitting the notes. kind of get the gist? Okay, so, and you can do that like even like this when you're just taking, like on your chord. You can take the whole chord and come back up till you're playing 4 notes. Did you hear how this was louder than the rest of them? Now this one's louder. See what I'm doing? Okay, and you can actually stay in the same chord for a longer period of time. And just do little tiny things like that, and then when you get a chord progression together, then just starting at putting it all together, and just let your feelings go with the strongness of it. Now, if you're playing an organ, and you don't have, I have a touchstone here, so I can go to an organ, for instance. Here we go. And I can hit those notes harder. I don't have anything on down there. Anyway, wrong example there. I should have picked something a little bit easier. Nothing down there either. Anyway, so, but with the organ, you're going to have to use your foot pedal on a volume control, which is going to be with your left foot. And I'm not set up that way because I have, let me show you on a piano here. And with your strings, you can do the same thing on an organ without having to use your volume pedal if you have a touch. And what the touch is that it gets louder the harder you hit it, just same as a piano. I can put anything up there like that, like maybe the... Okay, I got my toe on a little volume control down here, so I raised it up when I go higher. But the thing is, with some of these sounds, as you go higher on the keyboard, it sounds louder anyway. So you can experiment with that also. And I'm going to leave you with that, because I think the less that we do each week will allow you to do more with the less. If you understand what I mean. In other words, you can go back on, you're working on the key of G. And you're at G, A minor, B minor, C, D, E minor, and F sharp diminished. And you can start working with that and working with volume on the different keys. We're coming down and just going boom a few times or whatever, just to see how it feels and see if you can feel that energy within you increasing and decreasing along with what you're playing. And you probably noticed I'm a little out of breath today. I'm still getting over that stupid fall. Yeah, and it was a stupid fall. I had something else on my head, probably. I just like, whistle a Dixie and just whoop, down the stairs I went. And so I was having a good day until that happened. But so you're going to keep experimenting. We've been doing that for a couple weeks now. So we're taking the music that is becoming easier for us to put together, even though it is a new chord progression. We need to pick a new chord progression for this one. Now, I believe it's the jamming 6 is what I played last week after the lesson, and put it up there as jamming 6 for an example of what. So between 4, 5, and 6 of the jammings that's on there on my Keyboard Clark site. You can go to the site by either going to YouTube and just go to YouTube Music, type in Keyboard Clark, one word, and click search, and my little round picture comes up, and click on that, and there's the site right there. And I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty of hours of time that's being spent there, but I need to get my subscribers up, because it's the both of the tune combination is what allows YouTube to say, hey, we want to keep this guy on the channel, because they throw ads on there, and that's how they make their money. So I never asked for anything, because I didn't want anything when I started this, other than to know that somebody was learning what I was able to learn. So by helping me, by just subscribing, it'll give me two things. It'll let me to know that there's some people out there that are interested, and they're working, and they also can comment, and feel free to comment. And if you have a problem, it's so simple. If you've signed in and are a subscriber, then you make a comment to me, and I can real quickly, within a day or within 24 hours, give you a return text back to you as a message of help, and or whatever. So I even like compliments once in a while. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. So you have a great week, and keep practicing on all the stuff that we've been talking about for the last couple of months. And wherever you're a little slow, just go back to any one of the lessons, because all you have to do is listen to a few of them as you go up and down the scale of the 33 lessons, and you can pick up where you're slacking and catch up that way. But this week, we want to get feelings. We want emotions to flow.